Why I don't go rock climbing, no mountain climbing, skydiving, scuba diving, none of that dumbass shit. I ain't gonna cap to you because you're gonna end up getting left for dead if some shit go wrong. And that's what exactly happened to these motherfuckers in this video. Yeah. Now they went up on Mount Everest. Y'all know about Mount Everest, the tallest shit, not meant to really be climbed up on, but white motherfuckers like to take that dare, that adventure time, you feel me? And let's see how the fuck that shit went for him, man. I don't think it went good.
On May 13th, 1999, members of an Everest expedition team woke to start their journey to the top of Mount Everest. It was summit day, and they were all feeling the anticipation of what was to come, despite facing a disastrous week of preparation. The number of things that had gone wrong was absolutely stunning. What they didn't know was that one of the 13 climbers who headed out that day would be abandoned on the mountain.
Damn.
This is the fatal breakdown of the 1999 Mount Everest tragedy. In order to see how the pieces fell apart, you have to go back to the start of the expedition. Climbing Mount Everest isn't for everyone. It takes an incredible level of motivation to truly commit to the process of climbing this mountain. The decision to even try comes years before an actual trip can be planned. Besides becoming physically ready to attempt such a monumental effort, the climber has to find and book a professional expedition group to guide them up the mountain. There's a tiny 2-week weather window to summit, which brings hundreds of people each year to base camp of Everest. Michael Matthews and Jamie Everett were traders who worked in the financial district in London. These two young professionals were full of life and thinking about adventures they might try. Jamie ran across an ad in an outdoor magazine for an Everest expedition outfitter and knew that Michael had done some climbing before. He brought it to Michael, who immediately said, "Let's do it." This fateful moment of excitement would lead to absolute despair.
You see that's that white people shit right there. You see me, I'm the type of nigga gang. I most definitely go to see Mount Everest for sure. I see that shit, but am I climbing that shit? Hell no. You see black motherfuckers, they be like, yeah, we go see that shit for sure. We gonna stand and look at the mountain. Yeah, that shit raw as hell, gang. You see that shit? We gonna record that bitch. Show motherfuckers in Chicago they ain't living like us. Like, yeah, nigga, we looking at mountains and shit, bro. Y'all ass looking at that motherfucking dirty ass city, bro. Ducking switches and shit. Then we gonna go back to the Airbnb. Then try to find some hoes that we probably ain't gonna get, bro. Then just get high. Go get some food, But motherfuckers most definitely go out there. Climb that bitch. Hell no.
Michael and Jamie had chosen the OTT expedition group to manage their months-long expedition to attempt to summit Mount Everest. Clearly, the men knew that this was a dangerous endeavor, but also held a chance to reach the pinnacle of personal achievement. This expedition was to cost the guys $40,000 each in 1999. That's an incredible fee, but
$40,000 for you to risk your fucking life. $40,000 for you to risk your life. What the fuck do I look like paying $40,000 just for me to might die? Hell nah, y'all got me fucked up. Y'all niggas be paying just to die. Paying to almost die. Paying for the thrill of you might die.
not the highest or lowest that climbers were paying in the same year. The expedition company would be responsible for getting permits, lodging, food, oxygen tanks, Sherpa help, and all necessities on the mountain. When you consider the enormity of the task of ascending Everest, it starts to make sense why the cost is so high. Besides the actual costs and organization required, it's really the expertise that is most essential. A good guide team with lots of experience is the ultimate necessity. There will no doubt be challenges and problems on any Everest ascent.
So see, hell no, I'm not finna do no shit like this.
To a successful and safe effort. The true backbone of the operation are the Sherpa team members. These men are physically adapted to the elevation and have generations of Sherpa guides in each family. They work so incredibly hard to establish advanced camps, carry oxygen up before the teams arrive, and serve as escorts to the paying client climbers. They are experts in every element of the climbing process and are essential for most climbers to even have a chance at the summit. The expedition leader is in charge of all elements of the climb. Besides the logistics of getting everyone there with all of the proper supplies, he must make the crucial plans for when to hike up to base camp, how many acclimatization trips should be made, and when the weather is best for a summit push, all while contending with the dozen other expedition groups on the mountain at the same.
Damn, they ain't gonna catch that. That shit do look like a lot of shit you gotta go through, bro. Y'all paying to exercise, overshirt y'all body to the fullest extent, bro. This like some shit niggas would do. Like, nigga, is y'all trying to become Goku or some shit? Is y'all trying to unlock Ultra Instinct or some shit? That's the only way I'm gonna be climbing up this shit. Y'all ass got me fucked up.
Same time. It's no simple feat. Every person on that mountain is at risk of dying from falling, being crushed, hypoxia, snowstorms, altitude sickness, and hypothermia.
He just named like 7 different things that you could just die from, and you just paid 40,000. You just paid 40,000, and this nigga just named 6 different things, 7 different things you could die from, bro. Y'all ass crazy. You paid $40,000 for 7 to die. A chance for you to damn near die 7 different ways. That shit is crazy to me.
Yet, they all still chose to be there. When Michael and Jamie embarked on their trip to Everest, over 160 people had already died trying to summit. They were not naive to the possibility of death, but the hubris of youth assured them that it wouldn't be me. So they hiked up to base camp with the full team of the OTT expedition. The OTT team included its leader John Tinker and 3 guides, Nick Kikas, Martin Doyle, and Mike Smith. They had 13 clients in the group and 7 Sherpas in support of the team.
Gang, I would not want to be one of them motherfucking niggas. So you telling me, bro, if I'm the headmaster or whatever, I gotta keep on taking all these different trips up? Nah, bro, I ain't trying to be no tour guide, bro. Risking my life every time just to show these motherfuckers how to survive. Got me fucked up. I ain't doing no motherfucking job like this. They gotta be giving me. Is he getting that money on? I don't care if he getting money on. I still ain't doing that shit.
Michael and Jamie befriended 2 Canadian climbers, Dr. Dennis Brown and Dave Rodney. They all enjoyed the 8-day hike through Nepal to reach base camp at Everest. Michael was a fun and lively spirit in the group. He was often the first to finish and brought a joyful atmosphere to the team. Base camp sat at 17,700 feet, which meant that the level of oxygen in the air was about half what it was at sea level. This is the first important obstacle of Everest: oxygen. As you move up the mountain, the amount of available oxygen becomes less and less, until it's at a level that is unsustainable for life. The percent of oxygen in the air is the same as sea level, but the air pressure gets lower and lower as you ascend the mountain. The air gets thinner, and the oxygen available in each breath diminishes. The first weeks of the expedition are spent acclimatizing your body to the higher elevation. The body is remarkably efficient at adjusting to the available oxygen. Right away, the body starts producing more red blood cells to capture oxygen from the air inside the lungs. Michael and Jamie climbed up and back with the
See, looking at this shit make my body tingle, bro. I always been like nervous of blood, bro. Like seeing blood and shit, that shit just like, damn, bro. Blood don't make y'all feel like, like creeped out, bro. Seeing that shit, I always hate seeing video like that.
team to get used to the lower levels and allow their bodies to continue to make more red blood cells to compensate for the low oxygen. During these climbs, Jamie started feeling a headache and flu-like symptoms. He lost control of his limbs and could not even take steps to climb anymore.
Oh, you see. If I was a part of his crew, I'm gone. Take me back. Take me back down, niggas. The whole crew, nigga. I'm gonna tell. I don't care. They're gonna be like, man, the whole crew gotta come back with me. The whole thing over with, gang. Everybody coming back with me, bro. We going back down, and y'all can take this shit together. And my excuse is I'm gonna use him for my getaway. I'm gonna be like, man, this nigga finna die, gang. This nigga finna die, bro. We gotta go back down. Bro, we gotta go save this nigga. Knowing I'm saying that shit to save myself, I ain't gonna cap to you. I'm saying, but we gotta get him back. Woo, this, that. Cause I'm scared as hell that I'm gonna be like him next. So we gonna most definitely use him to our advantage.
It was quickly determined that he had altitude sickness, and his brain was swelling. Despite all their best efforts, there was no way to know that Jamie's body just would not adjust to the conditions. The young friends were devastated to learn that Jamie would have to go back down, and he would not be climbing Everest with Michael. The men said their goodbyes, and Jamie apologized for missing their big adventure. After Jamie left,
Why would you apologize because your ass damn near finna die? What the fuck? I would never apologize because I'm finna die.
Michael gravitated toward the Canadian guys, especially Dave Rodney. They teamed up on their acclimation climbs, and Dave recorded many of the events with his camera. They traversed one of the most incredibly dangerous areas of Everest, the Khumbu Icefall. This region consisted of constantly shifting enormous blocks of ice. The scale is only understood when you see the crevasses and blocks.
You see, first of all, you see that first little ladder thing that they gotta walk over? That little ladder thing? Yeah. I would have turned around when I seen that shit, gang. I wouldn't have made it across that.
With people inching through. The Sherpas set up ladders to cross the gaps, and their temporary nature is evident with every
You
step.
see, that shit look
Many
fun.
lives
But this
have been
nigga,
lost when
damn.
climbers fell from
You
the
see that
ladders.
part? You see, niggas falling from the ladders. And that's why I said I am not doing no shit like that. And look, I do the little sky trail shit. Like the most adventurous shit I'm doing is like the little sky trail zip line and shit. I do that shit, and it's like if I fall down, I'm gonna be fucked up. I don't think I'm gonna be dead though. I'm gonna be fucked up for sure, cause I'm high up. But this shit, gang, and I'm connected to like the little harness, the little all that shit, to the little rope zip line shit. They like I'm always they ain't connect, boy. They cooked. They cook. I'm boy. Hell no. $40,000 to do this shit, bro. Nigga, why am I paying 40K, bro? Y'all can't even get a better rent, bro. We using a ladder gang. Come on, bro. 40K. We using a ladder gang.
Or slipped on the ice and fell to their deaths. There would be no quick escape if the ice came tumbling down, so crossing this area was a tense and mentally difficult part of the journey. A few days after the men got settled at Advanced Base Camp, or Camp 2, they were confronted with some troubling news. The oxygen bottles that had been carried up and stored at the upper camps for each climber were not the right bottles. The outfitter presented it as no problem at all, but the more experienced climbers like Dave were all too aware of the essential requirement for climbing with oxygen. Anything that might make your bottles less efficient would be highly risky.
Man, so you telling me, gang, these niggas is paying 40K. You was paying 40K for this shit, bro. And they don't even got the right oxygen, my nigga. Like rich motherfuckers just be doing shit for no fucking reason, gang. Like, why are you doing this shit, bro? Like that Ocean Gate shit. That shit, bro. You paying all that shit. This nigga controlling the motherfucking submarine with a motherfucking 360 controller. What the fuck? And these niggas paying $100,000 for a nigga to control a submarine with a motherfucking Xbox 360 controller. Like, I don't understand why they do this shit, but I ain't gonna cap to you. Some things ain't meant to be understand with them, bro. That's why I realized, bro, you can't understand them, bro.
The standard regulators were Russian demand valve type, which normally paired with smaller Russian oxygen tanks. In this case, American and British standard tanks were delivered. They were slightly larger, which might have been an advantage if the regulators would fit properly. The OTT team used some ingenuity to file down the metal threads to make them fit. Nick demonstrated the connection and told everyone that it worked perfectly fine. This connection wasn't well seated, so it was prone to leakage or flow stoppage.
Nick ass
Several
line.
members of the OTT team later confirmed that many tanks did not work. The regulators would not consistently pull air, and the tanks were leaking from the connection. This was the last thing any climber would want to think about when taking on the toughest challenge of their lives. Despite the difficulties with the oxygen supply, the expedition continued on. Over the next few days, they moved.
What the fuck you mean it continue on? Nigga, if you need oxygen to live, if oxygen not working right, you end the fucking trip. What the fuck? Like, come on, bro. What the fuck y'all think y'all Superman or some shit?
Moved up from Camp 2 to Camp 4 in preparation for the 12-hour climb to the top. This was the first true realization of the incredibly difficult conditions at 26,000 feet. Fingers and toes felt like they were frozen solid. Air was thinning with every step, and the exhaustion was overwhelming. On the very day they were to start the summit push, they woke to hear the devastating news that they wouldn't be climbing today. The expedition leader, John Tinker, had had a suspected stroke. He had to be immediately taken down the mountain, so Nick Kikas was now in charge. Nick ordered everyone in Camp 4 to come down to Camp 2.
You see, bro, these niggas is getting, bro, okay. Two niggas. We done lost two niggas already that can't complete the mission. Y'all slow ass motherfuckers still talking about the show must go on. The show must go on. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Y'all ass crazy as hell. Y'all some real overachievers in that bitch.
This was for the safety of the climbers, so that they wouldn't be stuck near the death zone any longer than necessary. If they wouldn't be going up, they must come down. As logical as this sounded, Dave was frustrated. This was his second attempt at Everest, and he wasn't going to let Nick Kikas stop him. Michael and Dave were the last to leave the upper camps, and once they arrived at Camp 2, it was now requested that they come all the way down to base camp. The plan was to gather at base camp and go back up together as a group. This would mean traversing the Khumbu Icefall and then turning right around to come back up. The other climbers were all now recovering at.
You see, nigga, I ain't gonna cap to you. Once a nigga say, oh, we gotta go around, we gotta come back, and then we gonna go back. Nigga, crawling through this. You telling me we finna, nigga, look, you fall in this shit, nigga. You fall in that shit, nigga. That's the most scariest ending that you gonna have, nigga. I ain't gonna cap to you, bro. That shit crazy as hell. And then they got these niggas walking over a motherfucking. Come on, gang. This shit look like this shit finna fall. Nigga, this shit is barely up on it, gang. That shit is barely up on it, Brody. Let's be real. That shit is barely. Come on, bro. And then they got these big ass clumper shoes on, so that shit even harder to walk through. Yeah, I ain't gonna cap to you. These niggas crazy, bro.
Base camp, but Dave convinced Michael to stay in Camp 2 and just wait for them to return. They didn't want to risk the icefall and energy to go to base camp, when the plan was to just return the next day. Nick was now in charge with guides Mike and Martin to lead the groups. Nick was furious that the men did not follow his directives. The main group stayed at base camp for 1 day, then 2, and then a third. Nick told the men on the third day that the weather report wasn't good for the next 5 days, so they should quit waiting and join the group at base camp. Reluctantly, Dave agreed that if the team wouldn't be back for at least 5 more days, they should go down to more fully recover and wait. As soon as Michael and Dave entered base camp, they could sense that the mood had shifted. The other climbers were annoyed that they had tried to skip the return to base camp, and now saw them as outsiders in the group. This mental separation would continue for the remainder of the expedition. When they walked into the command tent, Nick informed the men that the weather had cleared, and they would be heading back up tomorrow. Dave and Michael were stunned. They were specifically trying to avoid this very circumstance, yet here they were. They believed that the weather report was a false excuse Nick used to make them come down. They had just spent the day in an exhausting climb, and would not have the benefit of 4 days of recovery at base camp like the other climbers. It seemed like Nick was punishing them for being strong-willed and wanting to avoid the Khumbu Icefall at any cost. Despite the conflict, the next day, the team headed back up to Camp 2 and prepared for the 3-day lead up to summiting. Michael and Dave were a little sluggish, and it was noticed by the rest of the group. They were the last to make it back to camp that day. Once settled at Camp 2, Dave was checking the oxygen cylinders to see if his regulator fit as planned. He hooked it to one bottle, and nothing happened. He rethreaded and tried again, but nothing. He tried a second cylinder, and again no air came out. A Sherpa helped him sort through the bottles, and finally he found one that seemed to work with his regulator. They grabbed a marker and started to write his name on it, to claim it for summit day. Nick Kikas saw this and ran over with a tank lifted over his head. There was wild shouting, and the entire camp was witness to Nick chasing Dave and attempting to hit him with the tank. It was a disturbing display. Nick felt his authority was being undermined by Dave, and he wasn't happy about it. Dave was emotionally exhausted and retreated.
Niggas is tweaking up there. That's because niggas lost that oxygen, bro. You gotta think about it. Niggas long oxygen, brain deprived, muscles exhausted. You feel like you going crazy. Body feel like you going crazy. Everything, bro, going crazy, nigga. So it's like, man, and then it's like all this shit playing around with the oxygen, gang. Like, it shouldn't be none of that shit. You gotta look around and sort for some oxygen. What if you needed some right away? What if you needed your oxygen? You feel me? Oh yeah, nah, you just gonna be cooked.
Retreated to his tent. After a good cry, he and Michael regrouped and prepared mentally for the biggest day of their lives so far. Nothing was going to stop them from reaching the summit of Mount Everest. Not even a complete collapse of support from their trekking team. By 10 p.m. on May 12th, they were sitting in their tent at Camp 4, heating up some soup and trying to rest before the 12-hour climb to the top.
How you feeling, pal?
I'm feeling just fine.
Oh, yeah?
Slight cough because of the dry air, but I'm sure Dave's soup will make everything all right.
This day was expected to be a full 20 hours of climbing to make it to the top, and then back down to their shelter here at Camp 4. The men were feeling positive about the climb, but there was an undercurrent of discontent.
Nigga, you gotta do a side motherfucking walk, gang. A side walk. These niggas really going through this shit. Do look beautiful as hell, but never. I'm never doing that shit.
Michael had lost some of his earlier exuberance, and the toll of weeks in these conditions was starting to show. At this point in the climb, there wasn't much to do but put one foot in front of the other and try to make it to the top. At this elevation, the elements working against them were overwhelming. It was minus 40 degrees at the summit. The air pressure made oxygen availability less than a third of that at sea level.
Niggas can't even function in that type of weather. Like, for real. It get negatives out here. Right now, bro, I'm cold, low key, bro. I'm just not trying to get up to get my jacket, bro. Like, right now, bro, it's like, shit, it's like 40 degrees outside. No, 37, bro. Cold as hell to me.
Food is not digested and absorbed well at this elevation, so eating does not improve energy availability. Each step becomes a physical chore that seems to never end. It's like climbing up a flight of steps for 12 hours straight. The torture on the body and mind is hard to fathom. Despite this, the team put their heads down and slowly made their way from Camp 4 to the Hillary Step over the next 8 hours. It was around 10 a.m. when the main group started the vertical climb up 40 feet of sheer rock face. The team was spread across the mountain due to the difference in their experience and ability on that day, but it was noticed that Michael had fallen way behind. It wasn't until 2 o'clock that afternoon that Michael finally reached the Hillary Step. Dave was on his way down from the summit when they crossed paths at the Hillary Step. They exchanged a moment of encouragement, and then Dave continued down the mountain with his guide and Sherpas. Michael was exhausted and had been having some trouble with his oxygen bottle. This held him up back at the balcony for some time, which put him way behind the team.
You see, steady playing. You see, nigga, once they said oxygen machine and they said shit not working this plan, you should have been. I feel like, bro, he keep on getting signs, bro. I feel like this just foreshadowing, bro. Like all these things, like out of everybody, you keep on having oxygen and shit, keep on fucking up and shit. And then you seeing your peoples and stuff, you feel me, they ass ain't surviving. Well, they surviving, but that's because they leaving. Like I feel like that's just foreshadowing, like, nigga, you having these the oxygen thing is showing you like, yeah, bro, you gonna end up, you gotta leave like them niggas or you gonna be fucked up, gang. And I feel like everything just be showing signs and you gotta take the right choices, you feel me?
Typical summit schedule. The problem is that if you aren't on your way down by 12 o'clock, you'll be traversing some dangerous terrain after dark. It was already 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and Michael still had some tough climbing ahead. The lead Sherpa with Dave's team told Michael to turn around now, or he would not make it back alive. Michael was feeling all the exhaustion of the lack of recovery, tough climbing, and limited oxygen, but his youthful confidence fed his summit fever, being only a few hundred feet from the top. His guide Mike Smith agreed to get Michael to the top and hurry down afterwards. It was a terribly challenging push up the 40-foot vertical rock face of the Hillary Step.
Nigga, it's not getting to the top, it's not worth it. But at the same time, I kind of could feel like where he coming from, like as a man, bro, you pay 40K, bro, for you to get up to the top and you ain't make it to the top. But then I gotta remember, shit, there's other niggas that paid that money young too and they died. They died. And they probably ain't make it to the top. So you lost your life, lost your 40K, and you ain't make it to the top, gang. Not worth it. With my body, all this shit happening, gang, over with, done with, fuck the top.
Together, the men struggled for nearly 2 hours to reach the summit. But at 22 years old, Michael Matthews became the youngest Brit to summit Mount Everest.
Damn, he my
The
age.
pictures show a joyful Michael, but clearly exhausted from the 16-hour climb to this point. Although summiting Everest can seem like the end of a significant journey, it's merely half the battle. Getting back down is more difficult because the adrenaline of getting there is waning. Any climber would be exhausted from a monumental 10 to 15-hour climb up. Oxygen supplies start running low, and getting out of the death zone as quickly as possible is essential for survival. Mike Smith was experienced with the devastation of Everest, but neither man knew what they were about to walk into. It was instantly apparent that they would be faced with the deadliest foe of Everest, a whiteout blizzard. As the first gusts of wind started whipping across the trail, it became
Oh hell nah, a blizzard on top of that shit, bro. That's like, nigga, you could have motherfucking avalanches happen. All in the avalanche, you cooked. You cook, gang. But a blizzard, you basically damn near cook. Cause a blizzard out here, you get caught in a blizzard, nigga, in normal level, you damn near you will get fucked up too, gang. It's just we got places where we could go inside and survive and shit. You don't got no place to go inside and survive, so you cook, gang. Like, when them niggas get trapped in them cars and them snowstorms and shit and they end up dying and shit. Yeah, bro, that shit really real, bro. Them blizzards really be killing motherfuckers.
clear that this storm brought with it an incredible danger. Now they would be fighting their failing bodies with every step, while gusts of 100-mile-per-hour wind and snow would be pushing them off course.
I would have felt like
Michael could
Naruto.
barely see a few feet in front of him as he battled the hurricane-force winds. It was minus 40 degrees and his body was starting to shut down. The
I would have
battle with
felt like I
oxygen
was
left
going
him
through a
spent
Hashira
physically,
training.
and there were still hours of descent ahead. The snow was building on the trail, and each step sunk his boots down into the icy snow. He hadn't seen Mike Smith for quite a while, and just couldn't determine the direction of the path. He was in an area where just a few steps one way or another would lead to a 1,000-foot drop off the edge of the mountain. Michael couldn't just stop and wait for Mike to come find him. That is certain death on Everest. He had to keep moving down if he wanted a chance of survival. Somehow, he found himself abandoned on the mountain in a raging storm. A young climber like Michael wouldn't have the experience to know exactly what to do. As Michael stumbled down in the whiteout, he made the ultimate mistake on the Cornice Traverse. A simple shift in balance and a foot misplaced sends a climber tumbling 1,000 feet into the abyss. Exactly what happened over those few hours is not known. Mike Smith claims that he moved ahead of Michael to dig out ropes that had been buried by the storm. Their ability to move, see, and hear were completely impaired, and they would have each been on the cusp of death. Mike states that he lost sight of Michael at some point and continued to move down to the balcony. This was completely against the purpose of a guide during the descent. Surely he knew the state Michael was in.
But it's like, gang, it's like, I ain't gonna cap to you, Brody. It's like, at this point, he gonna die trying to save him, bro. And it's like, at that point, you just gotta be like, fuck it, man. I ain't no superhero, bro. But you did sign up to be a guide. But I feel like at the end, it is your fault, gang, because you said, bro, I'm gonna be up with you, bro. I'm gonna make sure you get to the top. So you should make sure he make it back to the bottom too, gang. And I would say, tie the nigga up to you, but that shit wouldn't be smart. That nigga slip off your ass down to the ground. Oh no, niggas ain't tying themselves up to me.
So separating more than a few feet would be ill-advised. There he waited to see if Michael might stumble down the path at any moment. After some time, it was just not feasible for Mike to continue to sit in the death zone, so he worked his way down the mountain to Camp 4. He never saw Michael again.
Damn.
The team waited to see if by some miracle Michael would find his way down, but he never did. The storm and exhaustion kept them from trying to search for Michael as night fell on May 13th. Mike Smith lost a toe to frostbite after escaping the storm. The OTT expedition was never the most organized climbing team, but with the loss of John Tinker, things really lost an element of control. The most crucial moment of Michael's climb was the encounter with Dave's group on the way down. The Sherpa tried to pierce through their fog of summit fever to realize that they would never make it down alive. It was already well past the summit window, and they still had at least 2 hours of climbing to reach the top. The
You
expedition
see, that's everything playing in the favor, bro, of you not doing it. Sometimes the universe is showing you, bro. It showed him all the signs that, nigga, you is not supposed to do this shit. Like, and like signs like that, it wasn't like no little signs. It was showing like, nigga, You is gonna die, bro, if you keep on doing. That's how I look at certain things, bro. Like certain things, like when things happen, bro, it's like, bro, you gotta really look at it. Things ain't gonna keep on happening like that for no reason, bro. All them little signs gonna lead up to something bigger, gang. That's why you just gotta listen, do what you gotta do, be smooth in this bitch.
Leader would normally be tracking each person's position on the mountain and checking on their condition. John Tinker would have told Mike Smith to turn around and come down with Dave's group. That was the ultimate error. The fact that the
That's
oxygen
what I
tanks
would
were
have told him.
unreliable, that Michael was slowing down feeling the exhaustion of climbing, and a blinding storm descended, really just compounded that mistake. Despite extensive efforts to
I feel they didn't have no black people. That's the problem. They had some niggas, bro. Hey, boy, folks ass finna die. No, gang, no, we gotta go back. Folks ass ain't gonna be able to make it, bro. Yeah, his ass tweaking, bro. He tweaking. He ain't gonna be able to make it. But white people, nah, you could do it. You could do it. Nah, bro, you can't do it, gang. You can't do it.
locate Michael. He has never been found. A few days after the incident, an ice axe was seen off the course close to a ledge, and it's believed that Michael fell to his death. Later, Michael Matthews' family sued the OTT expedition group, including the guides who were responsible for leading Michael up and down the mountain. The courts cleared the guides of wrongdoing, citing the fact that the dangers of Everest are well understood by climbers, and nothing specifically criminal was done.
Rest in peace to Brody, but that's what I was gonna say. I'm pretty sure they make you sound like ravers and disclaimers and all that shit. Like, if you die, nigga, that's your fault. Like, that's on you. I'm pretty sure they make niggas sign that shit. So it's like you can't really sue a motherfucker because you know what come with this shit, man. It's still fucked up that he passed away, and that's why I ain't gonna never do no shit like that. But if you watch this video all the way through, I know your ass fucking with another motherfucking video. So go ahead and watch another motherfucking video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you never miss out on any content like this. Go!